Although I looked at other aspects of history and science and so forth, the resurrection was the key. And so the four things that I found that really convinced me, and again, this has become a lifelong study now, but I summarize it with four letters that begin with the letter E. So first, execution, that Jesus was truly dead after being crucified. We have not only multiple sources in the Gospels, but we've got 5 ancient sources outside the Bible that talk about his execution. No less of a source than the Journal of the American Medical Association, which is a secular, scientific, peer-reviewed medical journal, carried an investigation into the death of Jesus. And their conclusion was, quote, clearly, the weight of the historical and medical evidence indicates that Jesus was dead even before the wound to his side was inflicted.
Wow.
Even the famous atheist New Testament scholar Gerd Ludemann says it's indisputable historically that Jesus was truly dead after being crucified. So first he is execution. He was dead.
And the narrative against that would be, well, he didn't actually die,
Yes.
and then so his resurrection isn't real because he never was dead.
That's right. So he fainted.
It's fabricated in some way.
That's right. He fainted on the cross, and the cool, damp air of the tomb resuscitated him. Well, there is no evidence anywhere of anyone ever surviving a full Roman crucifixion. And even, as I say, the Journal of the American Medical Association concluded, based on the data of history, that he was truly dead. Second E is for early, that we have early reports that he rose from the dead. In other words, I used to think, okay, I got to give you the fact he was executed. He's dead. Okay, gotcha. But clearly the resurrection is a legend. And I figured it took time for legend to develop in the ancient world. So I figured, a couple generations later, 50, 100, 150 years later, stories were invented. Mythologies were spun. And that's where the idea of the resurrection came from. But we have preserved for us a report of the resurrection of Jesus Christ in the form of a creed of the earliest Christians. And this creed says Jesus died. Why? For our sins. He was buried. On the third day, he rose from the dead. And then it mentions the specific names of eyewitnesses and groups of eyewitnesses to whom he appeared, including 500 eyewitnesses at once. Well, this creed has been dated back by scholars to within months of the death of Jesus.
And was the 500 eyewitnesses, was that the Ascension or the
No,
Pentecost?
this was at...
Or not, it wouldn't have been Pentecost, excuse me.
Right,
The upper room or the Ascension?
No, these are the people who encountered Jesus subsequently to his death. So in other words, the very first Christians got together in the very first century and formulated this creedal statement based on facts that they knew to be true, including named eyewitnesses and groups of eyewitnesses, including the 500, who at some point after his death and before Pentecost, they encountered the risen Jesus.
Wow.
And to have it be that immediate within months, that historically, that's absolutely mind-boggling. When you